I was asked by Pretty Wicked 77 if there's a way to bring an orchid back to life. Before I answer that question, here's a couple of beauties today that are blooming. This is a spider type orchid. I believe this is Shooting Star in the Brassia Oncidium family. By the way, this one smells like cloves. Here's another one showing off for us today in its full glory. So orchid problems is a loaded question because orchids can die from many different things. They can die from cold, they can die from heat, they can die from too much watering, they can die from being not watered enough. They can get fungus, they can get algae, they can get insects, the list goes on. So it depends on what's happening per plant. But I do have a couple of tips. If you live in a humid environment like here in Central Florida, especially in the summertime, you have to use a fungicide, algicide. Otherwise, fungus and algae will grow and get into the orchid and systemically kill it from the inside out. Here is a good example of an orchid that got fungus in it and systemically started killing it from the inside out. I was able to quickly spray it with some fungicide, and I was lucky that one of the islets at the front growth sprouted, and voila, back to life it sprang. If you are growing a Phalaenopsis type orchid, otherwise known as a moth orchid, with these wide leaves that spread out and then they get these long shoots that bloom, okay? If the shoot has turned brown like this and is brittle and it snaps right in half, it's dead and you can cut the bloom spike off. The plant's still alive, but the bloom spike is dead. If, however, the bloom spike remains green after it blooms, you want to keep the bloom spike, because not only can the bloom spike fork and bloom again, but sometimes they sprout what are called kikis, or baby orchids, that then sprout their own roots, and when they have at least 2 inches of root on them, you snap them off and put them in a new pot and you got a new orchid. Phalaenopsis or moth orchids are the most common type of home orchid that you'll find. They're sold at Lowe's and Home Depot all the time. You also should repot your orchids into fresh bark every 1 to 2 years.